In this episode of the Huberman Lab podcast, Andrew Huberman delves into the science of studying and learning. He emphasizes that effective learning strategies are often counterintuitive and rooted in a rich body of scientific literature. At the core of effective learning is the concept of neuroplasticity, which refers to the brain's ability to change and adapt in response to experiences. Huberman explains that neuroplasticity involves three primary mechanisms: the strengthening of synaptic connections between neurons, the weakening of certain connections, and the rare addition of new neurons, neurogenesis. However, the most significant changes in learning and memory arise from the strengthening and weakening of existing connections rather than the formation of new neurons. Huberman stresses that learning should be viewed as a process of offsetting forgetting. When we encounter new information, our brains naturally tend to forget it over time. Therefore, the goal of studying should be to inoculate against this forgetting process. This perspective shifts the focus from merely acquiring knowledge to actively engaging in practices that enhance retention and mastery. To effectively learn, one must first be alert and focused. Huberman highlights that attention is a limited but renewable resource, and its effectiveness can be enhanced through various strategies. A good night's sleep is crucial for optimal focus, as sleep helps consolidate memories and strengthen neural connections. Huberman also suggests that mindfulness meditation can improve focus and attention, allowing learners to engage more deeply with the material. Active engagement is essential for learning. Huberman encourages listeners to adopt a mindset of active learning, where they consciously tell themselves that the information they are studying is important. This internal dialogue can help ramp up focus and attention, making the learning process more effective. Huberman discusses the study habits of successful students based on research involving medical students. Key habits include setting aside dedicated study time, minimizing distractions, such as putting away phones, and studying alone rather than in groups. Successful students often break their study sessions into manageable chunks, typically studying for 3 to 4 hours a day, but divided into 2 or 3 sessions. Another effective strategy is teaching others. Huberman notes that students who explain material to their peers often perform better academically. This practice reinforces their understanding and helps solidify their knowledge. One of the most significant revelations from the podcast is the role of testing as a learning tool. Huberman emphasizes that testing oneself on material shortly after exposure is one of the best strategies for enhancing retention. Research shows that students who test themselves after learning new information retain significantly more than those who simply reread the material. Huberman cites studies demonstrating that self-testing can improve recall by as much as 50%. This is because testing not only evaluates knowledge, but also reinforces learning by forcing the brain to retrieve information. The act of recalling information strengthens the neural pathways associated with that knowledge, making it easier to access in the future. He also discusses the importance of the timing of tests. Testing oneself soon after learning is crucial for offsetting forgetting. The more frequently one tests themselves, the better they perform on subsequent assessments. This approach contrasts with traditional study methods that rely heavily on rereading material, which is often less effective. Huberman highlights the role of emotion in learning. Emotionally charged experiences are remembered more vividly and durably than neutral ones. This phenomenon is partly due to the release of neuromodulators like epinephrine during emotionally significant events, which enhances memory consolidation. Incorporating storytelling into learning can also enhance retention. When information is presented in a narrative format, it becomes more engaging and easier to remember. Huberman suggests that learners can benefit from creating personal connections to the material, making it more relevant and memorable. Another intriguing concept discussed is interleaving, which involves mixing different topics or types of information during study sessions. This approach can enhance learning by forcing the brain to make connections between different concepts, thereby improving overall understanding and retention. Huberman also introduces the idea of gap effects, which refers to the benefits of taking short breaks during study sessions. These pauses allow the brain to process and consolidate information more effectively, similar to how the brain reorganizes connections during sleep. In summary, Dr. Andrew Huberman's podcast on optimal protocols for studying and learning provides a comprehensive overview of the science behind effective learning strategies. By understanding the mechanisms of neuroplasticity, the importance of focus and attention, and the power of testing, learners can significantly enhance their ability to retain and apply new knowledge. Emotional engagement, storytelling, interleaving, and gap effects further enrich the learning experience, making it not only more effective, but also more enjoyable.